predicting the record for every team in the NFC. My last video was pretty much the same thing, but the AFC. So if you want to go check that out, yeah, I got the link in the description. And yeah, guys, yeah, this is the NFC. I'm gonna be predicting the record for every team in the NFC. To determine this, I went on a website called playoffpredictors.com, and I went game by game to determine who I thought was going to win or lose. And yeah, that led to the results I have here. So, yeah, guys, let's just get into it. I think the NFC is a bit more open than the AFC is. So, I think this is going to be a little bit more interesting. Starting out with the NFC North, this could be a pretty tough division next year. Who knows? There's a lot of talent in this division. But finishing last, I have the Vikings with a 4-13 record. And the Vikings might not be 4-13 bad, but I went through the schedule and I only have them winning 4 fucking games. Big fucking deal. They have a rookie quarterback. Not sure how good JJ McCarthy's going to be. I think he's definitely going to struggle in year one. You know, he's not fucking Kirk Cousins. They have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, a pretty good wide receiver duo, but again, not sure about the quarterback position. And Justin Jefferson, this might be his last year in Minnesota. He could get traded before the start of next season. Who knows? And yeah, they lost to Neil Hunter on the defensive side of the ball. So I think this is definitely going to be a transition year for the Vikings. Not sure if they'll be 4-13 bad, maybe 5-12, 6-11, but they also play in a pretty tough division. So give me a fucking break. So and yeah, also I hate the Vikings. So that's yeah, that's pretty much why I put them in last. So third in the NFC North, I have the Chicago Bears. Yeah, with a 7-10 record, and I know Bears fans. Oh, we had a great fucking offseason. I trust me. I know we had a good fucking offseason. Just look at what we fucking did. But again, it's the Bears. Okay, if I have my expectations too high, guess what? They're going to disappoint me. So if I have my expectations like somewhere in the middle, I can't be disappointed because that's probably what reality is going to be. We're probably just going to be in the middle somewhere, like borderline playoffs, I guess. So 7-10. I have us starting out slow and then picking up the pace later in the season. So yeah, 7-10 for the Bears. They probably could be a lot better than they actually are, but I'm just keeping my expectations low for my mental health. So then, finishing second in the NFC North, I have the Detroit Lions with a 11-6 record. They're going to be the fifth seed. It's a tough division. I think the Lions are still a really good football team. I think the secondary, it might take another year to come along. I think I would probably like it more. I'd probably like the Lions more if they got another pass rusher next to Aiden Hutchinson. And it's the Lions, so I don't want to get my expectations too high for them either. So 11-6, I think they're gonna be like one game worse. So yeah, Lions, and then the winner of the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers, and I know, I know, I know, I hate the Packers too. I hate the Packers, but like it's the Packers, dude. They always win the NFC fucking North. And I think Jordan Love has a really good chance of winning MVP. I'm really high on him, especially after that Cowboys game in the wild card. I think the Packers are a really good coach team, and I think the Packers are going to be a tough team to beat next year. Okay, just don't be surprised. I have them going 13-4, which it might be me overreacting a little bit, but yeah, uh, I have the Packers finishing 13-4, then losing to the 49ers in the playoffs. The NFC East, let's get into it. Finishing last, I have the Washington Commanders. I don't think that's really a big surprise or anything. The Commanders finished 4-13 last year. This time, I have them finishing 5-12. So a little less shitty. I think Jane Daniels, I think he'll have a pretty good rookie year. I don't think he's going to have an RG3 year like some people think, but I think he's going to be pretty solid. He does have weapons like Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. The offensive line is fucking terrible, but I think the Commanders will have their moments. So 5-12. And then finishing third in the NFC, I have the New York Giants. Yeah, with a 5-12 record. I think their defense has a good chance of being pretty good with the addition of Brian Burns. I think him on that defense will give Kayvon Thibodeau more opportunities to get at the quarterback, but that offense needs work. They lost Saquon. Daniel Jones is still their quarterback. They added Malik Neighbors, but I don't know how good he's going to be in year one. So 5-12 for the Giants. Deal with it, Giants fans. You guys were probably not going to be in the playoffs for a while. I think 2022 was definitely a fluke. So it might be a long time. It might be a long time before you guys see the playoffs again. Giants, I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, actually. And then finishing second, I have the Dallas Cowboys with an 8-9 record. I think the defense might struggle a little bit with the departure of Dan Quinn to Washington. I know they still have Micah Parsons, but other than that, I would say the defense is a little iffy. And then, of course, you have the offense. I think the offensive line is going to struggle next year. I think their running game is going to struggle next year. And this could potentially be Dak Prescott's last year with the Cowboys. So I think there's going to be some up and downs for the Cowboys next year. So 8-9, fuck you, Dallas. I don't like you. And then finishing first in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know the Eagles, they struggled. They definitely struggled in the later half of the season. And they got fucking embarrassed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs. But I mean, the Eagles are still pretty good. They have A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I think the defense. I think that was the one thing kind of holding them back last year, and I think the defense is definitely going to improve next year. You know, Jalen Carter is coming into year two, and they patched up the secondary a little bit in the draft. So I don't think the defense is going to be as bad for the Eagles. And also, they added Saquon. So I think the Eagles are going to finish with like a 12-5 record and then probably lose in the playoffs somewhere. But yeah, Eagles winning the NFC East. Now on to the NFC South. I'm not the most confident on these picks for the NFC South that I like as much as I am for the other ones. But we're going to roll with it anyway, see if I'm right. And yeah, let's get into it. Last in the NFC South, not really a surprise. I have the Carolina Panthers, but instead of finishing 2-15, I have them finishing 5-12. So I have them getting a 3-game improvement. I think Bryce Young has the chance to be better. I'm not saying great, but better in year two. He's got David Canales as a head coach now instead of Frank Reich. And who the fuck was the interim coach? I'm just going to put his name up there because I can't fucking remember. But I think the Panthers will improve a little bit next year. Not too much. They're still going to be pretty fucking bad, but 5-12. I see them winning 5 games somewhere. And then finishing third, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, I know Baker, he had a revival in Tampa. You know, you still got Mike Evans there. The defense is still pretty good for Tampa. I have them finishing with a 9-8 record, so it's a winning record. But I don't see them repeating as division champs or being even better than they were last year. So 9-8 for the Buccaneers. I just kind of have them stagnating. And then finishing second in the NFC South, I have the Atlanta Falcons with a 10-7 record. And the funny part about them finishing 10-7 is that when all the records were added up for the NFC South, the Falcons still missed the playoffs with a 10-7 record. So I really hope this happens in real life. That would be really funny. But I mean, of course, you got Kirk Cousins, their new quarterback. He's really damn good. You know, you like that guy. And then their offense should be pretty productive with Bijan Robinson running the ball in year two. You got Drake London. You got Rondale Moore, Darnell Mooney from the Bears. So I think that's a pretty solid wide receiver core. And if they utilize Kyle Pitts, I mean, their offense is going to be even better. I'm not confident for the defense of Atlanta at all. I think their defense is definitely going to struggle. But 10-7 for the Falcons, and they missed the playoffs. And then finishing first in the NFC South, I have the Saints with a 10-7 record. Um, this might fucking backfire. I wouldn't be surprised if this fucking backfires. I don't know why I'm this high on the Saints, but I think Derek Carr will have a pretty solid year next year. I think Chris Olave will be really good next year as well. Yeah, Alvin Kamara, and then the defense, they added Chase Young, so if he could stay healthy, that could be a pretty good addition. They got Kool-Aid McKinstry in the draft. They got an offensive lineman in the draft as well in Talise Fuagua. I think that's how you pronounce it. But the Saints, I think they have the potential to be pretty solid next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division because, in my opinion, the NFC South is wide fucking open. Now, the last division we'll talk about is the NFC West, finishing last. No surprise whatsoever. We got the Arizona Cardinals. The only thing the Cardinals really got going for them right now is the potential of the Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr. connection being very fucking elite. But other than that, not fucking much for the Cardinals. Their defense still needs a lot of work, and not really any wide receiver twos that are notable. So yeah, the Cardinals I think are going to struggle next year. This could potentially be Kyler Murray's last year, depending on how good he does. So 4-13 for the Cardinals. Then finishing third in the NFC West, we got the Seattle Seahawks with a 10-7 record. The Seahawks, they usually sneak into the playoffs with as the 7th or 6th seed. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. But also, I really like their new head coach in Mike McDonald. You still got Geno Smith there, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, Nick Jigba. And they got a couple pieces there in that defense with Devon Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen. Their defense, I think, is going to hold them back a lot, though. But 10-7 for the Seahawks. And then finishing second in the NFC West. This may be a wee bit controversial, but I got the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are still a really good team, don't get me wrong. Their offense is still really good. You got Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk, even though there's been rumors that Ayuk wants out. And then that defense is still really fucking good with Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Almost forgot about Christian McCaffrey in that offense. How the fuck can I forget about Christian McCaffrey? But the 49ers are a really fucking good team. But also, I have a superstition that they're going to have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. And I just like the Rams a little bit more than them. So, finishing first, speaking of the Rams, I got the Rams. I am finishing with a 12-5 record. And I really like their offense. You still got Matthew Stafford there, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua. I think he's going to have a very great year next year. I think he's going to be even better than he was in year one and could potentially win Offensive Player of the Year. He's my pick for sure. And then you got Kyren Williams. He's their leading rusher, and he's going to be even better than he was last year. So, yeah, the offense is going to be really scary. The defense, on the other hand, could struggle a little bit, but I think the offense is going to make up for it for the Los Angeles Rams. So I have the Rams finishing first. And yeah, that pretty much does it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Check out the AFC version I did of this. And yeah, here are the final standings. I got it listed right there. So critique it. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. Yeah. And I got the link to the website I did for these records down in the description. So if you want to go game by game and make your own records for these teams, go ahead and do that. I think you guys will have some fun with it. So yeah, that pretty much does it. I'll see you guys in the next one.